This 920-page document would usher in the most conservative executive branch in modern American history, if enacted. It's called Project 2025.
Howdy, my fellow Americans. This is T-Pain USA, and welcome to Part 2 of Dismantling Project 2025, The Two Hidden Dangers. In Part 1, we showed how Project 2025 rests on four main pillars: policy plans, personnel database, an online academy, and the presidential playbook. And in the first video, we covered the first two pillars. The first pillar, policy plans, laid out the scheme for getting rid of the Department of Education. And when you think about it, MAGA don't really use that much anyway, right? Then they want to nix the Department of Homeland Security, which is mighty convenient since the party that wants to get rid of it is the one producing all the real terrorist threats to America today. And number three, they want to reshape the FBI to be Trump's personal police force. No different than that little Austrian fella and his Gestapo. And they use that to execute Trump's political agenda, along with anyone else that might upset the dear leader's tiny ego. And then we explored Pillar 2, which creates a database of MAGA replicants socially engineered to replace every member of the administrative ecosystem that might not lavish the appropriate amount of praise on Mar-a-Lardo Mussolini. So, now we're caught up and ready to topple Pillar 3. Let's roll.
Once they're fully vetted, they can move on to Pillar 3, an online presidential administration academy that would train future bureaucrats in conservative values and governing.
So we want these people who are competent, who have great credentials, to be prepared for the specific job that they will have.
There's an old saying T-Pain's mighty fond of: the devil's in the details. And nothing can be truer than this seemingly obscure portion of Project 2025. This online academy is probably best thought of as the Borg ship in Star Trek, where humans are assimilated one body part at a time until the thousands of voices in their head all sound like this guy. Except unlike the Borg, they get stupider instead of smarter. Now, these policies they teach, they're not guidelines, folks. They are 100% indoctrinations. And these are the bare minimum litmus tests you gotta pass to prove your loyalty to Herr Hitler. And here is where we encounter our first danger, or rather, our first set of dangers.
Project 2025 provides detailed policy plans for dozens of government agencies, outlining ways to create de facto abortion bans.
Surely you've noticed how Trump keeps denying he'll support a national abortion ban? Well, believe it or not, folks, unlike virtually every sentence he's uttered since birth, this might not actually be a lie, thanks to Project 2025. Here in the fine print is everything anti-choicers need to shut down abortions without actually instituting a massively unpopular national abortion ban. Let's just read the fine print. Stop promoting or approving mail-order abortions in violation of long-standing federal laws that prohibit the mailing and interstate carriage of abortion drugs. And you see, folks, there's more here than meets the eye. That's not just talking about those morning after pills. You see, doctors need a variety of drugs to perform safe abortions, and without them, you're essentially shutting down reproductive rights for women altogether and still being able to claim there's no ban. All Trump would have to do is sign an executive order, and his hand-picked Supreme Court justice monkeys would rubber stamp it.
/federal investment in renewable energy.
Remember when Trump pressed oil executives for a $1 billion donation to his campaign? Well, this is what their money's going to get them, because it is a total gift to the oil companies, virtually ensuring the rest of the world outpaces America with wind and solar, electric cars, and affordable, clean, high-speed transportation. And going hand in hand with that is this.
And roll back environmental regulations.
Trump's already promised to gut Social Security by making folks work until they're 70. So the good news in all this? Our air and water is going to be so polluted, you'll be lucky if you live that long. T-Pain's going to let you in on a little secret. T really enjoys reading the comments you leave at the bottom of these videos, so leave as much as you want and say whatever you like. And while you're at it, take just a minute and surf on over to Amazon.com and search for books and T-Pain USA. And you'll see that T-Pain has 2 political bestsellers to offer. Check them out.
Yes, that's where Pillar 4 comes in, the playbook for the first 180 days of a conservative presidency. A big part of the plan is modeled off of a Trump-era policy called Schedule F.
The scariest part of Pillar 4 is Schedule F. So let's find out a little bit more about what this critter's all about, shall we?
The Biden administration reversed this order in 2021, but Trump has vowed to bring it back if he is reelected.
First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively.
Remember how 250 years ago we fought against a tyrant king to claim our independence? Turns out Republicans may be suffering from a little seller's remorse because they've already invented this wackadoodle dandy of an idea called the unitary executive theory, which gives presidents virtually unlimited power, just like kings. Republicans must be missing old King George because they can't wait to have him back. In T-Pain's humble opinion, Schedule F, fueled by the unitary executive theory, creates a Pandora's box of American tribulations that, once opened, can never be put back in. Now, one of the more obscure portions of Schedule F is a little thing known as impoundment. And what this is, in a nutshell, is that presidents can take exception with any monies appropriated by Congress and can either hold them up entirely or redirect them to a place of their choosing. So think about this for a minute. We elect congressmen and women from our districts and senators from our states to go to Washington to be our voice. Through a series of bipartisan gymnastics, they have somehow managed to approve $10 billion for our state to have a new hydroelectric dam project that will produce clean, affordable energy, lower our utility bills, and improve the quality of life for us and our progeny. But Trump, King Trump, on a whim, can impound that money and redirect it to his Saudi prince rehabilitation fund. Heck, with SCOTUS totally bought into the absolute immunity doctrine, old Trump could just transfer that money into his personal bank account and he'd finally be something he's dreamed of all his life. A real billionaire.
Underpinning many of Project 2025's policy proposals is a legal principle called the unitary executive theory. It is based on a clause in the Constitution that says the executive power is vested in the president.
The Project 2025 assumption is that the president has something called unitary executive authority. This gives him enormous untested powers to essentially do whatever he wants and reduces the power of Congress to check those powers.
Impoundment alone would virtually neuter the entire legislative body and make Trump a virtual dictator without the ugly title. And remember this, folks, everything the Nazis did was legal. So if you're scared about impoundment, and you should be, you ain't alone. But don't let it drive you to obsession like this little MAGA fella.
Let's get back to, you and I agree. How about giving the power of impoundment to the president?
Impoundment.
This is a great idea.
Impound their tuchuses off. Impound their rear ends off. That's what you do. And leave all this legislative BS. Just impound.
Believe T-Pain on this. You don't want to see this little feller's Pornhub favorites. So now you're beginning to see why Trump is desperately trying to not be tied to Project 2025. Because this is literally a script to destroy the entire foundation of democracy while still being able to claim that the illusion of democracy exists. So folks, in closing, do yourselves a favor. Well, first, go get registered. Second of all, read up on Project 2025 and definitely check out the dangers of Schedule F and vote accordingly. Because if we don't, we're all effed.